With Taevo, coming to you with another video. Gotta excuse me having on my gorilla scarf, my camouflage scarf, because I'm about to get some early morning crazy gorilla writing in, and I just needed to prepare. It's like going to war right now. But I'm doing this video because I got another request, another question, viewer question, and I wanted to go ahead and answer it because I get this question a lot, but I actually I hadn't gotten around to answering it because I wanted to actually do like a tutorial. Like I wanted to put together a really nice PowerPoint. I gotta get a drink of some tea because I'm up here sounding like a gremlin, like, good morning, Tail. So I wanted to go ahead and answer this question. So the great thing that prompted me to do this video was my Aunt Tiva. After all of the times many different viewers were asking me this question in email, and I was like, I'm gonna get together, I'm gonna get it together, I'm gonna do a tutorial for them. It was finally my Aunt Tiva who sent me a message on Facebook with her cute self. Hi Tiva. Congratulations, my cousin Keisha's getting married, y'all, her daughter. Congrats. Big up to the fam back on the East Coast. But she sent this message and she was just like, how do I write a book, Tamara? And again, it was just one of those questions that I had just been getting over and over and over from different people that it was just time for me to answer it, I think. The one thing I want to tell you, because how can I phrase this right? A lot of times you'll get emails from people who will say they've got a template for you to write your book in 30 days, or there's a special secret formula for you to write your book in 60 or 90 days. I'm gonna just be the first one to tell you that they're full of ish. Don't listen to them, don't believe them. They're just trying to sell you something. The one thing I'm always gonna do with you when I do these videos is I'm gonna come with you with 100% truth. I'm gonna let you know the real deal of what it's like writing your book and publishing your book. It's not a cakewalk, despite what you may be hearing from these people who are just like, oh yeah, you can do a book in 30 days. Trust me, I've read their books. They weren't that good. When it comes to writing a book, I'm going to tell you a secret. You ready? Lean in closer. You ready? When it comes to the formula of writing a book, the secret is there is no formula. No, she didn't. Yes, I did. I've read thousands and thousands of books over my lifetime. I have had the pleasure of congregating and exchanging books with other hungry readers such as myself. And the one thing that we've always marveled at and loved about different authors and different books that we read is that even though we could find, you know, different patterns, you know, there's always a pattern when it comes to a story. Like, you know, you've got to have your plot. You've got to have your, you know, developed characters. You've got to have, you know, of course, your rising action, your climax, your falling action, your denouement. Yeah, when you're, you know, that's for when you're writing fiction, of course. When you're writing nonfiction, you need to, of course, have the elements of the problem that you're presenting, the solution that you're presenting. But at the end of the day, there's no real template or formula to writing your book. It's actually just writing is nothing more than a collection of your thoughts. And what separates good writing from bad writing is how much effort, energy, and work you put into organizing those thoughts in a manner that makes sense, where you're able to clearly showcase and exhibit what your message is through the book and let the reader know what the goal is with the words that you're using in these books. There's no real set formula. You have to be bold as an author. You have to love yourself as an author. You have to get to know yourself as a writer. You have to learn what your author's voice is and what your tone is. And one of the best ways to do that, and this is one of the things I always tell people when they're like, how do I write a book? I always tell them, keep a journal. That's where you start off at. If you are a brand new writer, you've never written a book, you don't know where to start, you have no idea what to do, keep a journal. Any kind of journal. It can be a notebook like this. It can be a notebook like this. It can be Let me see what I got over here. I use a Moleskine notebook. I don't want to stand up. It's up there, I think. I think it's up here, but I mean, it could be anything. It could be a little notebook like this, but keep a notebook and start getting in the habit of just jotting down your thoughts, because that's what your book will be comprised of. As authors, we need to start realizing our thoughts are important. Our feelings, our ideas, that's where it comes from. That's where our feelings and that's where our ideas come from. Our feelings and our thoughts. So you have to start getting in the habit of writing them down. Anything that pertains to your book, start getting in the habit of meditating on your book, thinking about your book throughout the day and the things that you see throughout the world. Maybe you're out and about and you see something that relates back to your book. Jot down what you saw. You know, if you're out and about somewhere and there's a piece of dialogue that came to mind where you're like, man, this would be a really good thing for this character to say, jot it down, because I guarantee you, you won't remember it. You won't remember it. After you've gone through the rest of the day and done what you need to do, you won't remember it. So what I try to tell people is I'll give them what's called the 3-day writing challenge, because you'll have people out there who do, 7-day writing challenge, 10-day writing challenge, 30-day writing challenge. And for a brand new writer, that can be intimidating. Trust me, I've been writing since I was 12. I do this professionally, and I can tell you I'm not the most disciplined writer in the world. So don't beat yourself up. There are days that sometimes I'm just not feeling it, and you can't force it. That's the one thing God has always told me with regard to this talent that he gave me. Say, you can't always force it, Tamara. Some days you just have to let the spirit go. You got to just let the spirit move you as it comes. So this is a situation where you'll have people try to beat you up or make you feel like you're not a good writer or you're not as disciplined as a writer because you don't stick to their formula that they gave you. You don't write, every day, or you don't write every day for 5 minutes, or you don't do writing challenges every day. Bump that. Listen, when you're first starting out, you're just getting your feet wet. You're trying to feel yourself out, because writing is very much about self-awareness, self-realization, knowing yourself, being willing to crack yourself open and go in here and start dealing with some things, and then you put it in writing, you put it in words. So that's what separates the best writers from the worst writers. That boldness, that fearlessness, that being willing to say, you know what, I'm going to learn the rules so I can break them properly, because I already know that there isn't any set rules when it comes to writing a book. Again, I'm going to reiterate it so you understand. Writing is nothing more than a collection of your thoughts and ideas. So there's no template, there's no special formula, there's no secret to this. You need to start jotting down your ideas, jotting down your thoughts, jotting down your feelings, because they're important. When you put your work out there to a reader, you're asking them to invest their time in you. So me as a reader, why should I invest my time in reading what you wrote if it's not important to you? If your thoughts aren't important enough to you to write them down, if your feelings aren't enough for you to write them down and really go back and ponder them and analyze them and think on them later, why should I care? Why should I read it if you don't care enough about your thoughts to even write them down? If you don't care enough about your feelings to even inject them into this book, to give it some more feeling, some more reality, bring it down to my level, something I can relate to, why should I care? So what I usually tell people is, I give them like a 3-day writing challenge, my clients. I'll just say over the weekend, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. Just take the time to keep a notebook near you. I don't care what it is. It'll be a pad of paper. It'll be a napkin. I don't care what it is. Keep something with you where as thoughts come to your mind, as emotions come to your mind, you write them down. And after that 3 days, don't go back and read anything that you've written during that 3 days. But after the 3 days is up, go back and read what you've collected. You'll be surprised, because as you compile little things throughout the day, you'll come back and be like, wow, I actually wrote like 6-7 pages worth of stuff and I didn't even expect that. And that's the beginning of your book. And of course, there are other aspects of it, like you have to have your outline. I'm a big believer in outlines. I learned this from one of my mentors, one of my masters, where I feel like, he was just great. Growing up, I loved Christopher Pike, and one of the greatest things I learned from him was he never wrote a story without building an outline first. and he's a fiction writer. So that let me know like I'm on the right track. Yeah, you can't just sit down and write all willy-nilly, not knowing where you're going to go or what you're trying to do, because then you're just going to be rambling for 200 or so pages. Have some kind of guidance, have some kind of guide, a roadmap, have some kind of idea of what you want to say, how you want to say it, where you're trying to lead the reader to. Um, but that comes with organizing your thoughts. The first step, it's more raw, it's more primal, where you're just writing down your raw thoughts, your raw emotions, your feelings, ideas you have about the book. Hey, I think I want to insert something about this. I think I want to go back in and research on this. Write those things down so that you can go back later and do it. I still do it to this day, and I go back in old notebooks and I just find really great ideas. I'll find like little tidbits that I forgot I wrote, and I'm like, that would make a great story idea, and I go with it. So that's my answer to you, and everyone else who has that question. How do I write a book? How do I start? What do I do? Where do you start? Start with a notebook, any kind of notebook. Start with your thoughts. Start with your emotions. Start with the ideas that come with writing your book. Everything that encompasses your book. I mean, there's so many topics and ideas out there, so it's going to be up to you to really hone in on what it is. Like, I've had people come to me saying they want to write stories about domestic abuse. I've had people come to me saying they want to write stories that will, uplift young men and women, especially with everything that's going on in this world. Understandably so, but you just have to remember, you have to bring it from here down to here. You have to focus it within your book. Know your message, know your goal, and from there, you should be good to go. If you're ever looking for any writing tips, or you ever want to have any kind of assistance, consultation, you need any kind of, advice, feel free to hit us up at www.taevo.net, or you can always email me at tmayo@taevo.net. Feel free to sign up for a consultation. We'll always be here. But this is a situation where a lot is going on in the world, and I do want to see more of us writing. I want to see more of us taking control of our literary world, because that's going to be the start of us taking control of our media world. We need to really empower ourselves, and we need to take back this power that the others, I'll just call them the others, have when it comes to the information that's being disseminated to our children. They control the books that are being printed. They control the books that are being published. They control the books that are in our public schools. They control the books that are in our libraries. They control the books that are in our bookstores. At what point are we going to step up? Because with them controlling that, this is the reason why they control movies. This is the reason why they control TV. This is the reason why they control newspapers, magazines, all forms of media. Because at no point are we stepping up and being willing to connect with each other and say, you know what? I'm going to big you up. I don't need Huffington Post to big you up or to give you credibility. I don't need the New York Times to give you credibility as a writer. I'm giving you credibility as a writer. As a black publisher, as a black distributor, as a black entertainer, I'm giving you that credibility. And that's what we need to start doing with each other, instead of waiting for these outside entities to say, oh, this is an esteemed writer. No, we need to start making each other esteemed writers again. So that being said, get out there and start writing, because I can't wait to read it. Take care, keep writing, keep loving, because God knows we need as much love in the world as we can get. But until then, I'll see you guys next time.